Good evening, Bahamas. On the broadcast tonight, the Prime Minister hits back at the opposition, saying it's time to simply accept that it mismanaged the country's affairs. Plus,
the Minister of National Security says the police force is in need of added resources.
And one U.S. state explores increasing airlift to the Bahamas.
Our news is brought to you by Alive, the nation's newest and best LTE network.
Good to be alive.
Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks for joining us. I'm Andrew Knowles. It is time that the leader of the opposition and his fellow parliamentarians accept that the Christie administration mismanaged the affairs of the country, according to Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis. Earlier this week, Minnis revealed to Parliament that Ash Enterprises, which was contracted for cleanup after Hurricane Matthew, was paid $8 million through more than 40 checks from the government of the Bahamas. In a statement issued Friday evening, Minnis said the Christie administration has been caught out and now needs to redeem itself in the eyes of the Bahamian people. He added that former Works Minister Philip Davis is aware that technical officers provide technical advice, and once a government either accepts or rejects that advice, they must take full responsibility for those decisions rather than lay blame on those who gave the advice. Minnis noted that it is troubling that in a no-bid arrangement, Ash Enterprises, headed by Jonathan Ash, received multiple payments, at one point totaling nearly $1 million in one day. The Prime Minister maintains that this occurred under the former administration, while some small vendors found it extremely difficult, if not impossible, to receive payment for much smaller amounts. Davis, meanwhile, told the Nassau Guardian on Thursday that he was unaware that a single vendor was awarded $8 million in related contracts and expressed regret that the Prime Minister exposed the identity of the vendor despite no wrongdoing. Well, meantime, as the budget debate kicked off in the Senate on Friday, former Minister of Grand Bahama, Dr. Michael Darville, said after listening to the budget contributions of that island's 5 members of Parliament, he has yet to hear of a meaningful plan for Grand Bahama. Darville says it is becoming increasingly clear that the Free National Movement does not know how to bring the magic back to Grand Bahama's ailing economy.
I was hoping that the Minister of Finance, in his substantive contribution, would have been eager to share something about the F&M strategic plan for Grand Bahama. On the contrary, it seems that the new template alluded to in the speech of the throne does not exist, and a workable one must be developed. Well, Madam President, that's not good enough for the people of Grand Bahama, because during the political campaign, the Free National Movement told the residents of Grand Bahama that they are going to bring immediate change. They're going to jumpstart our economy, and they're going to get people in the tourism sector back to work.
On the campaign trail, the F&M pledged to repeal the Grand Bahama Investment Incentive Bill and level the playing field for business owners in Freeport. However, Dr. Darville cautioned government to look carefully at the MOU and heads of agreement signed by the major stakeholders before potentially pushing the economy of Grand Bahama back another 10 years.
Although I concede that the bill is not a perfect one, and I say that, Minister, because we all know who have served in these honorable chambers that every bill that comes can always be improved upon. I strongly suggest that you improve the bill rather than repealing the bill. We know. We know, because what we have done is while we were sitting with the stakeholders, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, when we were sitting with the chambers, they voiced their concerns to us. We listened to the concerns, and we instructed the AG to go ahead with the necessary amendments that would cover their concerns, and what could not cover their concerns in the bill, we were able to handle them with the new regulations. However, Madam President, I believe to repeal the bill will go contrary to the evidence-based research and derail 3 years' worth of hard work by the government.
In other news this evening, Minister of National Security Marvin Dames said the police force is in dire need of added resources, and he plans on making the adjustment in the near future. Georgie O'Bain reports.
The Minister of National Security is discussing adding new vehicles and manpower to the police force to curb long-standing issues of extended response times.
Well, we're currently reviewing resources. One of the things that we've been hearing, certainly on the campaign trail, and we've been hearing for years now, is that, when persons, and I mentioned it during my contributions, call a police station, they're being told there aren't sufficient police cars or there aren't sufficient officers.
According to Dames, he is working with the Commissioner of Police to strategize how to better manage the force's current resources, which may result in some officers being shuffled around.
So we're looking at resources now, and one of the things that our government said that we would do is that we will take a look at the establishment of the police force and to see whether there is a need for additional staffing, or to look at whether the staffing are being appropriately applied. We are big on civilianization. That's important.
Dames reassured Bahamians that those promises made on the campaign trail have not been forgotten.
We can no longer justify having police officers serving as accountants or HR personnel. These are areas where we can put those persons who are qualified, and to take those officers who are in those respective areas and put them on the streets to do policing. We have to be much more strategic in our approach.
Reporting for Our News Weekend Edition, I'm Georgie O'Bain.
Minister of Education Jeffrey Lloyd says he will have his work cut out for him to bring the educational system up to standard, but he wants to assure the public that while it will not be an overnight fix, he has already identified the areas that will get his immediate attention.
There's no question, and I said it in our budget presentation, there's no question that this educational environment, the establishment, does not respond, is not responding, does not meet the needs of the 21st century Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We are not training our children to the degree and extent that they need to be trained in order for them to achieve what they need to achieve, to be productive, competitive citizens in this environment. This is not about competing against one school or another. This is about competing against countries.
The school system is grossly overpopulated, according to the education minister, who said his ministry is looking closely on how to build a new school within their first quarter.
The state of our infrastructure. We've got more than half of our schools, well, just about all of our schools are 30 years of age and over. A number of them are in a state of advanced disrepair that need immediate upgrade. We've got an overcrowding on the southwest quadrant, as well as the southeast quadrant of our islands, where you've got Sadie Curtis, Cleveland, Aeneas, and a host of other schools that are vastly overcrowded. So in the southwest section of our islands, we have to find a way to build a new school within the next year, next 18 months. The same thing goes in the southeast quadrant. Then you've got the family islands, where you've got resource challenges, whether it's materials, supplies, teachers, and so on.
The curriculum is not up to standard, according to Lloyd, who says he wants Bahamian students to have the necessary equipment to compete with students all over the globe. The education minister says he wants to also add to the technical and vocational aspect of the education system.
One of the things that the National Development Plan outlined, and its brilliant observation, is that we are not as inclusive an educational establishment as we ought to be, so that kids who want to, for instance, pursue technical vocational education from the 10th grade all the way up to tertiary levels are not able to do that to the degree that they would like to. The folks who may have intellectual or other disabilities are not able to meet their maximum potential in the system as it presently is structured.
And we'll take a break here, but still ahead, the culture consultant at the center of controversy defends his work and reputation. That story and more when Our News returns.